I am a proud community college dropout. I graduated high school with like probably a 2.0 GPA. I dropped out of community college. Now I'm a business owner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've taken a non-traditional approach, and you're dropping out of college. What was that? 09?
No. So I went to college till 2012.
Okay, so that's like the golden era where everybody's like, you got to get your master's, you got to go to college, you got to get a 4-year degree. Looking back, what do you think people get wrong about the success formula that society pushes?
Well, I think in the era that I grew up in, and you guys, you're similar, so you can probably like relate to like growing up. It's like, oh, the culture is that the pathway to success is college.
College, yeah.
That's how you are successful. Is you go to college, you get a degree, you get into finance, you get into X, Y, Z, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's and speaking from my own perspective, like my job as an iron, like even outside of like owning a business, as an iron worker, I love what I do, dude. Yeah. Like we do badass, like Zach sees the picture, man. Like we do badass stuff. Yeah. So to like, your whole life, you kind of grow up like, oh yeah, blue collar people are like less than college educated people. Which it's like, well, who do you think builds the school?
Right.
Who do you think builds the hospital that the doctor works in who went to medical school? Who do you think builds the Air Force base that, the military,
where they shoot the rockets off
where
at,
they shoot the rockets off at, these are things that people never really consider. It's like, it's kind of a lucrative career that you're not really talked about because the standard that we hold college to in this country is different. Like in Europe, like my wife has been to several European countries. And she's like, yeah, when I was in Germany, like they push trade schools the same way they push colleges. It's like, because there's a clear need for people that can like fix and build stuff. So like, why would you not put the same energy into that you put into somebody wanting to go into catastrophic debt to be in a career that most of the time they don't even like? Dude, probably 9 out of 10 people that I know that are college educated hate what they do for a living.
Yes.
Hate it.
I agree. Yeah. I mean, so many people that we know, you go and get that degree and then what?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, that degree that you got, it's like, what kind of job are you expecting to go get with that? Like I've got a psychology degree. Like what am I going to go do with that?
I mean, if you want me to lay on the couch, like put the feet out, we can talk about my problems.
But like, I don't even have like the degree to be able to do that. Like I'd have to go to school for another fucking 4 or 5 years or something, like it doesn't, people just go to college, and it's like people want to go have that college experience, and like, which essentially means you just want to go fuck off with your friends for 4 years, because that's kind of what kind of what you want to do. I mean, that's like what you wanted, and like, but like, where is that getting you? Really all that I've gotten from college, like, yes, I have a degree, but like, I've never used it. The only thing I've really gotten from college is like the relationships and like the experience of like living on my own. Yeah. Like my friends that I made in college. Yeah. I've sold a couple houses from them, but like, other than that, like financially, like what has going to college gotten me other than debt? Like pretty much nothing, other than like some of my friends that I've met, and so I totally agree with you here that I think that things are, it's definitely, I think things are starting to turn around though.
Yeah,
I really do. Like, I don't think that college is being seen as what it once was.
Shit, you're starting to see more and more commercials pushing trade schools.
100%. Yeah. And I would love to talk about that too, man. Because it's, I've got a lot of opinions about it.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure you do. So anyway, you got into the apprenticeship.
So I applied for the apprenticeship in 2011. Applying for the apprenticeship in the ironworkers in my local, again, I can't speak for every trade union out there. For me, it's like, it's a lengthy process. They have an initial sign up where you pay a sign up fee, which is like 20 or 25 bucks. So your name gets put on a list, and then you have an orientation meeting, which is a month later. And they're like, the orientation meeting starts at 7 p.m. on, Wednesday, the 25th or whatever. At 7 p.m. they lock the door. So if your name's on the list, you show up at 7:01, you're not eligible anymore. Sit in the orientation meeting. They tell you like, we're iron workers. This is what we do. This is why it's great. This is why you should want to do it. They kind of like pep you up a little bit. Fast forward another month. Now you have to take an aptitude test. So, say you signed up it's March right now. Say you signed up in March, you'll have your initial orientation in April. In May, you'll take your aptitude test, which same thing. Be here at 8 a.m. on Saturday. at 8:01 the door's locked. If you're not there, you're no longer eligible. So they're slowly like weeding down this list. You know what I mean?
People that can't show up on time, shit like that. Yeah.
And the aptitude test, is very basic to say the least. Like, it's like, they've string out like there's like a picture of a tape measure, and it's like, how long is this line? And it's 8 7/16, and there's like it's like very like high school level math, maybe some stuff like there's like pictures of dump trucks loaded with rocks, like which would fall over first, like stuff like that. And I want to say it's been a lot of years, man, but I want to say it was like 100 questions, and you had an hour to do it, and I felt like it's designed for you to not complete. I mean, so then you take your aptitude test, and then you have a personal interview with like an examining board is what they call it. And that's a month after the test. So same thing. You come in on a Wednesday night or whatever. They lock the door at 7:00. If you're not there, you're out. So what starts as like a list of maybe 100, 150 people. By the time they get through this 3-month process is like maybe 75 names, and then they're taking 10 people.
Oh, wow.
You
That
know?
small.
And this was 2000. And there's a shitload of nepotism, and I hope that like that gets out. I hope that like this portion of that conversation, there's a shitload of nepotism in union trades, and it's the thing that pisses me off the most about it is that we pass over really good qualified people because of somebody's nephew, somebody's kid. I want that to be the highlight of this talk: is that nepotism in the trades is bullshit. It's bullshit everywhere.
It was because it's not about what you know, but who you know, and
100%,
shit like that.
100%.
You're like you said, passing up good quality workers for someone that feels like they're owed.
100%,
earned.
So I did all this in 2011. I didn't know any iron workers. Didn't know anybody. You have to do all this stuff. Like you do all the interview, the test. You also have to get some documentation. Like you have to give your transcripts. You have to get essentially what are 3 endorsements from people. They don't really tell you who it should be, but your acceptance probably has a lot to do with who signs those 3 papers.
Oh, okay.
So I do all this shit in 2011. This takes months to do, you know what I mean? Yeah. And they're like,
this whole time you're working at
I'm working for the barge company, and I'm going to college, and I'm like doing this interviewing process. It takes 3 months to do this. And then after your interview, they're like in 28 to 30 days, you'll receive a letter of either acceptance or denial. 2011, I get a letter of denial. And I was like, as Michael Jordan would say, I took that personally. Because I looked around the room, man. I remember doing my aptitude test. And like I said, man, this is basic math, dude. This is not like complex math. I remember the kid sitting across from me, like sweating bullets, dude. And I'm like getting ready to turn my test in with 10 minutes left. And this kid's on like question 45. I'm like, wow, I think I've got this in the bag based on the aptitude test alone. You know what I mean?
I'm fucking way smarter than
right,
these fuckers. Yeah.
So I get my letter of denial, and like keep in mind, dude, like at this point in my life, like I'm sick of the shit, man. I'm tired of working this job. I'm tired of like not having, dude, I cannot stress this to you enough. Like I'm scraping by every week, dude. When people talk about living paycheck to paycheck, I did it for years. It fucking sucks, dude. I'm sympathetic to people who like just can't seem to get the break that they need, man.
Bro, I totally feel that. I was there. That long ago.
I see it on my side of the real estate business with the finance side. Like you're looking at what people are trying to purchase and because I always ask them, I'm like, what's a monthly payment that you would feel comfortable with? And then I get their income docs and I'm like, holy fuck, that monthly payment that you're comfortable with. Now this doesn't always happen, but in some situations I'm like, it's more than half of what you're bringing home.
100%, dude.
Like,
I lived in an apartment with my daughter and her mom. At the time, $400 a month, and it was like maybe 400 square feet. Like it was small, dude. I the reason that I ended up buying my first house is because 1, I wanted to get the hell out of there, and 2, I was like, literally, if I bought a spatula, I don't know where the hell I'd put it. You know what I mean? Because I just have like no room. You know what I mean? Like, so I do the whole interview process. I get my letter of denial, and I'm like, again, man, I'm just like, I feel so personal about this. You know what I mean? I don't know. You know, I'm pretty naive to this process. I'm pretty naive to like unions and union trades and stuff like that. So I'm like still working full time. I'm still going to college. You know, I was going to college because I'm like, at some point this is going to break. I'm either going to like get my degree and get the hell out of here, or like something better is going to happen for me. You know what I mean? You know, you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So 2012 rolls around, and I'm like, you know what, man? I'm doing this again. Fuck this. I'm doing this again. You know what I mean? So I do that
So you can only do it once a year?
Yeah. So
Okay.
they only take people in once a year. Mind you, the economy is complete shit right now.
Right,
like at this point in time, like the economy is terrible. Work is really slow. Like as far as construction is concerned, there's not a lot going on. So I'm like still wanting to roll the dice on this thing. I was pissed they didn't take me because I knew I was qualified. I knew that I could like do this every day. And I told them that, you know, in the interview, I gave them like mostly those like generic answers, like, why should we pick you? Oh, because like I'm great and I'm qualified to do this because like I need this opportunity to like better things for myself. You know what I mean? So 2012 rolls around and like the opportunity to apply comes up again. And like it lit a fire on me, dude. I was like, fuck that. Like I'm doing this. You know what I mean? And I'm going to like let these people know that they messed up when they didn't pick me the first time. Right. So I do this whole process again. I sign up, I take the applicant fee or pay the applicant fee. Sorry. I do the orientation. I do the aptitude test. I do the personal interview. This all goes over several months again. You know what I mean? And I remember going into my interview like the second time, and it was just like it is right now. I was on one side of the desk, 2 guys were on the other side of the desk. And I do the same thing. Like when I sat down, I had brought up that I was here last year. I was like, hey, I did this all last year. I'm familiar with this process. I'm familiar with what you guys do. You know, I'm here to like be like, I told you last time I really wanted to do it. And, you know, I'm here again. So like we go through the whole interview, you know, why should we pick you? Are you comfortable working outside? You're gonna be in these like dangerous conditions. I had no idea too that like ironwork was super fucking dangerous when I applied for this job. I was just like, dude, I gotta get a better job. You know what I mean? And they're like, okay, Brian, like, is there anything else that you want to say before we let you go? And I was like, yeah, you know, I kind of brought it up earlier, but you know, I was here last year, a year ago, and I jumped through all these hoops a year ago, and I told you guys before that I was the best candidate for this job. I told you guys a year ago that like I was willing to do whatever it took to like be the best at this. I was like, I'm here again a year later to remind you of the same thing, that there is no person in this pool of people that are more qualified and willing to do more for this job than me. I was like, it's important that you both know that. And I remember the dude sitting across me just like gave like this really like subtle nod with like a slight grin, and I left out of there. And I was like kind of thinking to myself, you know, if it doesn't work out again, like that's probably it. I'm not going to do this again. I was like, but I put all the cards on the table, dude. I was like honest as hell. I was like not going to leave any stone unturned here. I kind of let them know that I was like kind of pissed they didn't take me before, and I'm happy that they know that now. Fast forward like a month, I got my letter of acceptance.
Fuck yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
I was like, dude, it was like one of the happiest. I get like emotional thinking about it right now just because it's like, it was like this crushing weight that like had come off me. I was like, dude, things are finally going to like start looking up. And I also knew I was like, it's going to be a ton of fucking work because like I don't have, you know, the dad, the uncle, the grandfather, I don't have anybody to fall back on. I've got to make my own reputation. I've got to do all this on my own. Like I got to make a name on my own. And that's what I did, man. I went out there and I fucking worked hard. I knew going, like when I got the first job call, because like
so how does it work? Then
so like in a union,
and then
in a trade union, like you have a hiring, they call it a hiring hall. So like say you're a contractor, you're gonna put up a building, like this building, which is a dope ass building, by the way. If nobody's seen this place is rad as hell.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, hey, I'm Joe X. I want to put up a building. You know, this company's gonna be contracted to do it. I need iron workers to man this job, to set the steel, weld stuff down, whatever, you know, do the rebar, concrete reinforcement, whatever. So the contractor will call the union hall, say, hey, I need 5 iron workers to come and do this job. It's probably going to last, you know, obviously depending upon the scope of the project, you know, it's going to last a month, 2 months, whatever. The hiring hall goes through a hiring list of people that are off of work. They do the project comes to an end. Typically speaking, like those guys all get laid off because the project's over with. They'll go back to the hiring hall, sign back up on the no work list. And this process will repeat itself. Sometimes it happens to where like the goal of a contractor, particularly in leadership, is to like keep the same guys on. So like say I hire you 2 guys, you're both foreman for whatever, you know, you run one crew, you run a different crew. We have several jobs going on. since you guys are good leaders and you know the scope of work really well, I can trust you. You guys like handle business. Like I want to keep you on. So to do that, I need to have enough work to keep you busy. You know what I mean? Hired help a lot of times, like you'll just have to go to the hall. You know what I mean? But it's pretty common for most contractors to have a steady 40-hour guys that are foremen. But the same thing, like they're still union ironworkers. They still did a union apprenticeship. Generally speaking, there are some ways to sneak around that some contractors will do that's like kind of shady, and it's kind of frowned upon. But
Like what?
like they'll go to, so like me, like I did a 4-year union apprenticeship. I'm a union ironworker who did an apprenticeship with Ironworkers Local 392. I'm a card carrying member of Ironworkers Local 392. In the South, where there's like a lot of right to work legislation and stuff like that, sometimes union halls will like sell guys membership. Is the short answer. Like without getting into like super technical stuff, that's like, you know, the short answer is like you can buy a union membership here. And since you technically are a card carrying member and I'm a union contractor, I can hire you. And that happens, and it's really frowned upon, and it's a fast way to like lose respect of your people.
Well, I was going to say, after the process that you went through, I'd be kind of pissed off about that.
Yeah. They call them bought books. Most guys in the field will call them bought book bag lickers. You can paint a picture for yourself.
Sure. Yeah.
But, you know, sorry, grandma, I don't want my, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, those guys, like, they don't really hold the respect that people that earn it do. And the guys most of the time will let you know that. So yeah, man, I did my apprenticeship and I never looked back. I did my first, so you do school, we call it, it's apprenticeship training is what it is. We call it school.
That's about 4 years, right?
It's a 4-year, my local is a 4-year apprenticeship. So you have to go to school. In my local, we go twice a year. We go for 2 weeks at a time. Typically it'd be like 2 weeks in the fall, 2 weeks in the spring. But that whole time in between,
You're working.
you're working.
Yeah.
So like
You're
instead
learning on the job.
100%, 100%.
Older guys, I don't know.
There's only so much that I can teach you in a classroom.
Right.
This is pretty hands-on shit here. You know what I mean? Yeah. So, you know, like I can get, like a lot of it is cert training. Like all my guys and really everybody in my local, like all those guys are OSHA certified, whether it be OSHA 10 or OSHA 30. There's rigging certifications. There's welding certs that we have and stuff like that. Like that's really what school is geared towards, is like getting your certifications and like being current on stuff. And that whole time in between school, you're working. Hopefully you're working. You know, sometimes you hit slow points. The weather's bad, the economy's bad, whatever. Like those are all things that are dynamic to working. But you know, the goal is to stay busy. You know, you do your 4 years and then you finish the program.